Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Brittany Bowman.
And I'm student meteorologist Matt Reagan. It is another Thursday on the show here.
Another Thursday, second to last Thursday show of the spring semester. We'll have our last state drawn today to do for next week, and we'll have our state of the week later on in the show, Utah.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Utah forecast. There's some stuff going on in Utah in terms of fire weather that we're gonna see, and I'm sad we're ending the state's forecast.
Yes, it was a really nice little sequel we had going on, and it's sad that it's ending.
Yeah, but and the FSU weather is ending for the spring semester too, and my time on FSU weather.
Yes, congratulations, by the way, on your job at the Weather Channel.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting move. I'm super excited, and but you know, I just can't believe it's ending. But anyway, that's enough for me.
Well, good luck to you. And as far as our weather here in Tallahassee, we saw another hot day, not as hot as yesterday, but we will continue to see some warmer temperatures, more like summer temperatures, and our next chance of rain is coming up.
Yeah, we'll see that next chance of rain in our forecast here that Sarah's going to be giving us right now.
Thanks, guys. So today was a really beautiful day. As Brittany says, it was a bit hot outside. During that afternoon time, we did see those clouds start to roll in, those nice cotton ball, cute little clouds that you would lay down and stare and see what kind of shapes were out. So this continued out through the day, and they kept coming, bringing us a little bit of some shelter if you were in the shade from the sun, which was blaring down. By that afternoon time, which we got that big warm up. From the morning time, we were cool. It was pretty nice outside, but as the sun rose, so did those temperatures. We reached a high of 85, so it was a pretty hot one. As you were getting out of your afternoon classes and walking, you were probably sweaty, and your hair was, and for females, for us girls, our hair was probably not our best friend with that, with those heat. There's the remnants of that weak cold front that came through, mostly bringing that cloud cover and pretty much those clear conditions behind it. We will look at another frontal system coming through into Sunday, but we'll have that further forecast up to date for you, so keep update with the show. But for your 3-day forecast, Friday and Saturday will be the best days to go out. We'll be spared from the rain. It will have a slight cool down on Friday at 77, but it will warm up and the winds will start to pick up, being a bit gusty. And then Sunday's going to be that day we're going to have that rain chance, so please be prepared and make your plans ahead. But for coming up in the show, we will have a great start to the weekend. Rain will be sticking around to start your week, and then we'll have your trivia and Utah, the state of Utah for the state week. And then we also have a lab about UV index. But for now, I'm going to send it back over to the desk.
Thanks, Sarah. Now it's time to pick our last state of the week here for our Thursday show. We do have Utah to still talk about, but let's go ahead and draw what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah, I hope it's a good one for our last one. Go ahead and draw it.
Let me mix it around because it's got to be a good one.
Yeah.
Drum roll. All right, ready?
Probably Montana.
California!
Hey, we got a good state.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, I love every state, but you know what? California is a unique state to end on. A lot of cool things there, so the California forecast is coming next week.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. We know we have some drought conditions over west, some fire warnings, high winds over in that area also. Yeah,
so we're sorry to the other states that didn't quite make the forecast list this year, but I'm sure someone will take the reins next year and continue this.
Yes. For now, let's take it over to Sammy to look at our first local.
All right, thank you guys. So I don't have California, but I do have our local, and right now we are sitting at a warm 83 degrees. So that dew point and humidity is a little bit higher, but we had a little bit of that cloud coverage come through our area in today with that front that passed through. Our local temperature pretty much around the 80s for your Big Bend region, aside from Perry being 78, St. Mark's getting a little higher, 81, and over in Apalachicola they're sitting in the 70s as well as 77. But pretty much low 80s throughout that entire area, so it's feeling very nice outside. Along with that, we also have the wind. So the wind is, you would definitely start to feel that wind coming from the west. We are sitting at 13 miles per hour, 12 over in Quincy, 15 even up in Bainbridge. So everyone is kind of feeling that wind coming from the west right now. But our dew point is actually feeling a little bit higher, so you are feeling a little sticky outside. Not too bad though. We're talking 61 here in Tallahassee, 59 over in Marianna and Quincy, and over in Wilma, 61 by the coast, 65, even into 68 for Apalachicola. So they are actually feeling a little more moisture than we are right now. But pretty much around the entire radar, you can see just a little bit of cloud coverage coming through our area and continuing into tomorrow as well. You could start to see those clouds making its way through with that system pulling its way through into Tallahassee. But for tonight's planner, you could see just a little bit of cloud coverage from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That temperature is going to drop, though, 76 all the way down to 61 by midnight, and even dropping lower into the morning hours as well, but not too low. So going into the weekend, you could start to see more of that cloud coverage making its way through, maybe even possible showers. That's just a front coming from off the ocean. But our big system you could see is coming through over from Texas, Oklahoma. That's making its way through and finally getting to us into Saturday and into Sunday. So the big story is for Friday, Saturday, we have some of that wind making its way through. So you can see that windy 78 degrees for Saturday. And then some rain coming our way, 70% chance of rain for your Sunday, and lowering that temperature just a little bit, 76 degrees. And into Monday, we have 50% chance of rain as well, 79 degrees. And then plenty of sun coming our way, finally making its way back into the 80s again, hopefully for that weekend as well. But those lows are going to be in the 50s, maybe making its way into the 60s as well. So not enough to feel chilly, but you may need that jacket in the morning. But now, back to Sarah.
Thanks, Sammy. So we're going to zoom out to the southeast, and luckily for up northern southeast, they're getting that cool down from that weak cold front. So they're up in the 50s and lower 60s. So they're getting that cooler air mass from up north. But down in South Florida, we're still seeing that weight of that cold front to bring those cooler temperatures down. 83 in Tallahassee, Miami down there at 80. So overall, we're still waiting for those temperatures to cool down into tomorrow. Dew point really showing where the effect of that weak cold front is starting. So right about Montgomery to Atlanta to Charlotte. Seeing where the dew points behind the front are drier, so we're going to expect to see some drier conditions onto tomorrow. But right now we're still a bit muggy down in South Florida and parts of Georgia. But these dew points will start to change as we're starting to see a change. See Tallahassee starting to drop down at -4, but behind we're seeing a big drop. 27 in Tupelo and 25 in Nashville. So we're going to start to await Orlando down there, unfortunately. They're increasing in their dew points. So hopefully when that cold front comes through, bringing in those drier air conditions, bringing that northerly winds. So right now, that's why Orlando is, high pressure system right here, going to be bringing in those drier temps. It is breezy out, so make sure, ladies, you do keep your hair up for the next couple days. These winds will start to pick up, but there in Orlando, that's why they're a little bit more muggy, because you can see those winds start to come together, bringing in the moisture from both sides, from the Gulf and the Atlantic. So that's why they're muggy down there. But overall, these winds are coming out from the west in Tallahassee, bringing in the more drier conditions. So these winds will start to shift. There's that weak cold front sitting off the coast of Charleston. So once it starts to move down, the south and central part of Florida will start seeing those drier temps. All around, since that weak cold front did move through, we have that high pressure system really bringing in those clear skies. Not really much going on. We did see that the clouds cover start to build up here in Tallahassee. But overall, all around the southeast, pretty clear. But we will see another frontal system start to make its way through by the weekend. But for that pass front, we're going to see some watches and warnings. The light blue is a frost, and the darker blue is a freeze warning. So we're going to be expecting some freeze watches out there since that cold front did make a more impact up there. So make sure you put your plants away, cover your pipes, and bring your pets in as well. For the futurecast, there's where that weak cold front is starting to move its way through. But here behind me is where we're going to see that wind start to shift from the south, really fueling this cold front. Parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas will start seeing those effects into Saturday evening, but we won't see them further into Georgia and Florida by Sunday. Tonight, though, we're going to be the northern southeast is going to be a bit cooler. As you can see, that cold air mass is making its way known in the 40s, but right now in Florida, we're still in the 50s, so these will start to decrease. But tomorrow, we see that cool down 76 in Tallahassee, all around in the 60s and 70s, so pretty nice. But Florida, unfortunately, still seeing some 80s. But for now, I'm going to send it over to Matt with our lab of the UV index, since it's been really hot all around Florida area.
Well, thank you very much. We are focusing on the UV index now because we're getting into that time of year where the UV index starts to matter a little bit more. Over the winter time, the sun isn't as strong. The ultraviolet rays coming into at least the surface are not as pronounced. But now we're getting to the time of year, spring and into summer, where having that bottle of sunscreen with you is a good idea. Now let's get into this, because this is exactly where we would see the highest UV index values climatologically throughout the year. And it makes sense. Right along the equator, the point closest to the sun is going to be seeing those higher values. Now areas down in the mountains in Africa as well as in South America could see the sun high UV indices as well. But here in Florida, we climatologically will see periods, at least North Florida, where the UV index is a little bit lower. Now what exactly do these colors mean? Well, you have your low exposure rates and your extreme. Now we're starting to get into this area, the high, the very high, and extreme ranges. So 6 and above is when you're going to want to think about starting to use protection from the sun. Now what type of protection are we talking about? Well, this is simple. Here's the 6 and above range: sunglasses and sunscreen. You got to protect your eyes just as much as your skin, because your eyes are affected by the UV rays as well. A hat, and staying in the shade a little bit more. As we move into the early parts of summer, very high UV indices, we're wanting to stay indoors as long as possible. But if you are heading out on the lake or to the coastline, having the sunscreen with you and taking these precautionary measures is important. Now let's look at the forecast for the UV index for tomorrow. If you've got any outdoor activity planned here in North Florida, we're seeing a high one. So keep the sunscreen around, follow those easy instructions, and you can stay protected this summer from the sun. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Matt. It's that time of the year where you have to start worrying about that higher UV index. We've also had a lot of sun this week. Same thing right now. It is 83 degrees. We still have some clouds due to that weak cold front, and the dew point is still high, but that's going to drop as we head into the nighttime hours as we get the drier air from that cold front. You can see drier is already coming in with that northwest wind, and it's breezy at 13 miles per hour. Now the temperatures across the region, the inland areas are still warmer. 83 in Tallahassee, 82 up towards Bainbridge. We still have somewhat of a sea breeze down in Apalachicola because of the winds coming out of the west, so they're at 77 right now. The wind speeds again are coming out of the west, but you can see some northerly winds all the way up towards Alabama and Mariana, and they're actually pretty breezy. 13 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 16 down towards Apalachicola, so it is pretty breezy some places, but in Monticello, it's calm right now. The dew points are still relatively high, so it feels a little bit muggy out there, a little bit uncomfortable, like in Apalachicola and Carabel, where you're at 68 and 65 degrees respectively. But look up towards the north. You can see those dew points are starting to lower just a little bit. You're in the 50s in terms of your dew points, and those are going to drop as we head into these next few hours into tonight and tomorrow. Satellite and radar is clear right now. You could see some cloud cover there. That's actually a controlled burn down towards Liberty County. That's why you were probably smelling some smoke these last few hours and into last night. That's because of the controlled burn down towards Liberty County. But you don't really see, we've been saying this whole show, there's been a cold front, but it's not very strong. The only thing you can tell about it is some clouds off the southeast coast, and a lot of the rain is up towards the northeast, up in Washington and New York City, but the rest of the southeast is clear and dry, but much cooler compared to yesterday. Futurecast shows you how this cold front tries to keep itself together, but it'll get some showers down between Orlando and Miami, but mainly just some clouds. However, as I move on to show you what we have next, that's our next frontal system, and that's actually going to give us a decent soaking of rain as we head into Sunday and Monday. But until then, it will be clear as high pressure will be with us for that time period, but then we start to look at the rain Sunday into Monday. Tonight, clear up to the north. You can see we're reporting cloudy for Tallahassee. That will be earlier in the night because of that front still nearby. The drier air starts to filter in as we head into the early morning hours tomorrow. And as we head into tomorrow, still some clouds due to the daytime heating, but pretty clear overall and much cooler compared to these last few days. The week ahead does show you the rain chances increase Sunday and Monday due to the cold front approaching our region, but then we clear out as we head into next week. For now, let's send it off to Brittany with a look at our national forecast.
Thanks, Michael. Now, across the country, we're looking at pretty nice temperatures. Not seeing anything below freezing as right now, so everyone up north is probably pretty happy about that. 62 in Billings, 61 in Los Angeles, and when you look over towards the southeast, we'll see those 80s, 83 in Tallahassee, and 80 in Miami. The wind flow is showing some pretty strong winds. Now, if you notice over here, we have one rotation going on. That is the low pressure that will bring our rain into Sunday. And these colors are indicating some high wind speeds. Now that's going to take part into the dry conditions over near the Four Corners, and the dry conditions and that high wind speed, fire weather warnings, and we'll talk about that later. The other rotation you can see is off the coast in the northeast area of the Atlantic Ocean, and that is what brought our cold front into our area. Our dew points are showing most of the country is pretty dry right now. We're seeing a dew point of 15 in Denver. Over by the coast, you'll see that higher dew point just because of the moisture from the oceans, 44 in Los Angeles. And Florida, all this green down in the southeast is showing pretty humid conditions, so you definitely felt that as you were outside today. Satellite and radar shows that low pressure system that will bring our next chance of rain. There's some rain associated with that. And when you look over at our other low pressure system, you'll see some snow, and you can sort of see where that cold front came through. That line of clouds didn't bring much rain at all. I don't see any rain in the southeast, and didn't bring much cloud cover. Here's a look at that snow and rain moving off the coast. I'm sure you guys all up north are sick of that snow, and that's going to move through our area, and that next system will be at you guys later in the week. We do have some watches and warnings associated with this since the cold front passed. We'll have some frost advisories in light blue near Tennessee, Virginia. Cincinnati's under a freeze warning, and even into North Carolina, West Virginia, and Maryland. The drought over back towards the west, these darker colors are indicating an exceptional drought. So again, on top of those high wind speeds and those dry conditions, you don't want to have any sort of outdoor fire because the chances of that spark being blown and into something worse is very likely. And we'll have some watches and warnings to help with that. The high wind warning is indicated in orange, and we have that fire weather warning in pink, and that's much of New Mexico and Arizona and even into Colorado. So be careful if you are out there when talking about fires. Here's the next system that's going to move eastward into our area, and you can still see by Saturday it is off to our west, and it won't be here until later in the day and on Sunday. So if you have plans on Sunday, be a lookout for that rain. But for tonight, you'll see those temperatures getting near or below freezing for a lot of the country. 43 in Kansas City, 47 in Memphis. Miami will stay at 73. Pretty nice conditions over there. And when you go to Seattle, you'll see that temperature of 44. Going into tomorrow, another beautiful day across the country. 60 in Billings, 62 in Kansas City. Dallas will see 72. In Tallahassee, we'll see those partly cloudy skies, temperature of 76. But for now, let's head it over to the desk with Sammy and Sarah.
All right, thank you. So like you were saying, we are going to talk about a lot of that, the fire weather that is going on, especially in those 4 states.
Yeah, definitely, because if you saw the wind graph, you saw those winds were pretty strong, and that doesn't help with the dry conditions that they're having. So if there's a flame going, that means those fires are going to spread fast since those winds are pretty strong over there.
Yes, and we have actually a lot of blowing dust, especially in Arizona, and we also have those high winds.
Yeah.
So that contributes to these high hazard conditions.
Yeah, with the vegetation dry and not receiving, they were in an exceptional drought, so they're very dry over there. The vegetation's dry, and the humidity there is very low.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So there is a lot of extreme weather there for these next few days. That humidity and dew point is going to decrease overnight, which helps.
Yes.
But the conditions are going to continue into tomorrow as well. But for now, we are going to take it over to the lab with trivia.
Thanks. Now let's take a look at our trivia question for this Thursday. What was the highest record temperature for Tallahassee for the month of April? Now yesterday we saw a high temperature of 88 degrees, and today we saw a temperature of 85 so far today. Due to the weak cold front, that's why we got that slight decrease in temperature. So vote on our Twitter poll. You can follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather, and definitely vote on that and give us your educated guess on 85 degrees, 90 degrees, 95 degrees, or 98 degrees as the record high temperature for the month of April. Now, while we might be seeing some record high temperatures here in the south, the north is still seeing some cold temperatures, but as we go into the summer, we'll see some warming up of our temperatures. And again, you can find this poll on our Twitter at FSU Weather. Now, for now, I'm going to send it back over to the desk.
Thanks, Brittany. Yes, it's been warm this week, but as we head into the weekend, those rain chances increase, and this is looking to be a pretty good soaker for us.
Yeah, if you saw the Futurecast, Saturday is when it's starting to make itself known into the southeast, bringing a lot of rain into the Arkansas and Oklahoma area, but we won't be seeing it until around Sunday afternoon time.
Yeah, once it gets into the southeast, it starts to lose its movement. It starts to like slow down a bit. As a result, the rainfall amounts from this next storm system are going to be pretty high in northern Alabama, northern Georgia, 2 to 3 inches mainly. Same thing in the southern Appalachians.
Yeah.
And then
and also for us, we may see 1 to 2 inches, but I wouldn't be surprised if we'll start seeing some flood watches and warnings onto the map for next show. Yeah,
but remember, southern Georgia, especially the southeast portion of the state, and also Florida, they're still in a drought. So it's still beneficial rainfall for most of the southeast. Yep, but for now, let's send it out to the wall with Sammy for a look at Utah.
Thanks, guys. So we are looking at our state of the week, and you can see plenty of sun right now, seeing temperatures in the mid-60s into even the 70s over in Moab. And we also have Blanding over at 68 degrees, and even St. George is seeing plenty of sun at 69 degrees. So fairly warm for Utah, but they are experiencing those drought conditions as well. So we actually have a low dew point. You can see Price is even at -3. And so all these numbers are fairly low, which doesn't help that drought situation along those 4 states as well. And even this wind. So you can actually see we have just a decent amount of wind. I mean, these wind miles per hour go from about 5 to 29 miles per hour. So fairly widespread. And you can actually see some of that counterclockwise spin, which will bring some of that rain and even snow into the mountains over near Salt Lake City. So we actually do have watches and warnings, and one is that winter weather advisory over in Vernal. And we actually have, I'm in the way here, we have a wind advisory down more south, so you can see it extending through the lower half of the state of Utah. And we actually have this rain making its way through. You can start to see that system coming through the area. That's going to really pick up overnight and even into partially on Friday as well. So you can start to see them move through around the early morning on Friday. And you can see various types of precipitation, snow, and definitely some rain coming through the majority of Utah. But into tonight, temperatures are going to be fairly chilly into the 40s over near Salt Lake City, and Wendover is around 44 degrees. But as you go further south into the state, you can see those temperatures 35 degrees over in Delta and even 34 over in Blanding. And you can also see a lot of rain coming through that area as well. But into tomorrow, once that rain clears up, you are going to be partly cloudy and even maybe some sun making its way through. Temperatures around 50 all the way up into 63 degrees. So fairly warm, but you may need that jacket, especially in the early morning hours. But for now, I'm going to hand over the forecast.
Okay, I will take it from Utah and bring it back here to Tallahassee. And I think it's a little bit cooler right now, or warmer right now, rather, outside. We don't know what way is up here. 80s is where we're looking at today, 86 degrees. So it was still warm out there, even though that's what we saw similar to yesterday. So mid to upper 80s is where we're sitting at right now. And feeling somewhat like summer out there. As I mentioned with the UV index, it's important to make sure if you're heading outside to plan accordingly for that. The average, we're a little bit above average, but thankfully quite a bit of ways away from our record of 92. Now, we talked about temperatures. Let's see what's going on across the tri-state. 83 here in Tallahassee. Mostly 80s is where we're sitting across the entire region. A little bit cooler closer to the coast. And these temperatures will start to take a dive tonight as the sun does go down. We'll get to that in just a second. The wind speeds, though, pretty much out of the west right now. A little bit more off the water. Closer to Perry, and then St. Mark's slightly off the water as well. The wind keeping us a little bit on the cool side if you are heading outside. Great day. I was at Cascades Park, so go to Cascades if you have time tomorrow. Will definitely be a good day to do that. The local dew point, though, it's a little bit high. Not too bad, though. We're not talking about chapstick weather. We're not talking about overly oppressive South Florida humidity where you're swimming outside, but it's really not too bad. It's quite nice and somewhat like spring. The temperature's a little bit on the high side, though. Satellite and radar looking across the region, a couple little bits and pieces of a controlled burn in Liberty County that was burning earlier today. If you smelled some smoke out there, that's what you saw, and what you could continue to smell the next couple of days as controlled burns continue to occur in our surrounding counties. Now, across the entire southeast, we have been talking about a slight frontal boundary coming in to cool us down tomorrow, but the big one will be on Sunday and into Monday when the rain chances will start to go up just a little bit. But right now, sunny skies, and as we like to say, the dome of delight, high pressure is sitting over the region. Now, we put this forecast into motion. We time it out for you through Friday and into Saturday. Clouds on the increase on your Friday and Saturday, with the rain chances also increasing as we move into Saturday night. Now, we're not seeing overly high rain chances, but something possible quick off the Gulf of Mexico is a possibility. Now, you're heading outside on Friday, it's going to be a gorgeous one. Look at this. Even into noon, we're going to be struggling to make it to the 70s. A lot cooler tomorrow than what we saw today. 8 a.m. though, it's going to be a layers day. Start with the jacket, start to peel it off, and you'll probably be warm and sweating if you're walking to class by the evening. But now the week ahead, a windy one on Saturday, Sunday. The rain chances are going up. But then once that front and that system moves out of our region, Wednesday and Thursday looking pretty nice here across the Big Bend. Back to you guys to close the show.
All right, thanks, Matt, for that wonderful last forecast. But we can see that these conditions are going to give us some rain for this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be cooler these next few days. We're not going to get to 88 in the near term again because of that weak cold front moving through. But it's going to feel very nice outside, pretty average for middle of April. But then again, as we head into Sunday and into Monday, that's when the rain chances increase. And as we were saying earlier, this is looking like to be a pretty good soaker because it's not going to move that much over those 2 days, Sunday into Monday.
Yeah, so maybe not a great weekend to go sailing with that wind coming through on Saturday and even that rain coming through for Sunday.
Yeah, but don't forget us to follow on Twitter where we have our poll up, twitter.com/FSU weather.
And like us on Facebook to see all of our updates.
And also, we're live on YouTube. We do this every weeknight on youtube.com. Just search FSU weather.
And make sure you follow us on Instagram as well at FSU weather.
Yeah, the Instagram is pretty good with all these spring pics right now and the pollen. And maybe some rain pics by the time we get into Sunday. But for all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Michael Lonan.
And I'm student meteorologist Sammy Squires.
Have a great night.